Hey, I'm Tommy Gentry.
Hi, I'm Trisha Gentry, and this is my baptism testimonial. The reason why I'm here today, why I decided to make this change in my life is truly because of my family. My husband Tommy and my two kids, Thomas and Jackson, mean the world to me, and I want them to have the best version of me that I can give them. And for many years, I wasn't giving them that. I was very broken on the inside, very lost, and I just felt like there was something missing in my life. And for years I felt that, and from the outside looking in, it appeared wonderful, like I had it all. I had a great family, wonderful things, and but there was just something missing on the inside. And for me, I didn't know what that was. I didn't grow up going to church. I had a wonderful home life, wonderful parents who taught me wonderful things, to be a good person, and they were kind and loving, and I'm so grateful to that, for them and for that. And but the truth is, we didn't grow up in church, and I didn't know what was missing in my life, and it led to some really hard times and some bad choices on my part. And I was probably at the lowest point of my life when I met Tommy. I was hanging around the wrong people. I was doing the wrong things I shouldn't have been doing, and I made a lot of really, really poor choices and things that I have to live with to this day, and still have regrets over. My life was just headed in the wrong direction, and I really needed a change. And God sent Tommy at just the right time, and he truly saved my life. And I'm a better person today because of him. And he's been wonderful in this whole journey that I've been on. He's somebody that I can lean on and talk to, and I'm very grateful for him and all that he's done for me in my life. Sorry. So after meeting Tommy, it was probably many years before we actually settled down and got married and welcomed a family. And we found ourselves, we were living in Florida at the time, and we found ourselves at a point where we could move. Tommy's job had changed, and he was flexible, he worked from home, and we made the decision to move back to Douglas, Georgia. And we didn't think we'd be here for long. It was maybe just a temporary situation. We were thinking we should just find something to rent, temporary. And that was kind of our plan, but we soon learned that wasn't God's plan, and he had a much bigger plan for us and for our family. This amazing opportunity presented itself, and it required us buying a home that was a major renovation project, major, and still is to this day. And we decided to go for it, and we took on the challenge, and it was really, really hard for many years. The transition of moving. We had a 4-year-old who was just starting school, a brand new baby, and Tommy was now working at home, and so there was just lots of changes in our life, and it was a struggle. It was really hard, and we didn't really understand why we were going through this and what the purpose of all of it was. And soon we learned that the reason for all of that was for us to cross paths with a gentleman named Tracy Burke, and he forever changed our family, and we're forever grateful, to him for that. And
I'm sure a lot of people at Carver are very familiar with Tracy. He is one of the best people I've ever met, and I owe him a tremendous amount of gratitude for what he's done for me and for Trisha. As he was renovating our house, he would witness to me, and we would talk, and he made it clear that he was a Christian, and I told him I was as well, and we shared our testimony with one another. And he asked me many times if we had found a church, and we had not. We had not even looked for a church, and I kept telling him that we had not found a church, and he just kept asking me, and he finished our renovation, and I felt like I had a newfound friend in Tracy.
A friend for life, definitely.
And he called me by chance a while later after the renovation was done, and he asked me again, have you found a church? And I said, you know what, Tracy, you've asked me enough. I'm coming to your church. And so he invited us to his church where Stan Clough is the preacher. And I started going there every Sunday. And I went for several months, and I got back active in a church, which really helped. And I started trying to get Tricia to come with me. Well, she didn't want to go because they don't have a children's church there. It's a small church, a great church, but they don't have a children's church. So those of you who know Jackson know why she didn't want to go sit in church all day with Jackson. So finally, after months, I stayed after church and I went and talked to Stan. And I asked Stan, what do I need to do? Because I need my wife to be in church with me. I want her here. And Stan, being the great man that he is, told me, he said, Tommy, you need to have your family in church. He said, it doesn't have to be this church. He said, I know you love our church, but you need to have your family in church, which is great advice. And I said, okay, well, I'm not from here. Can you recommend a church? And he recommended Carver Church. And that's how we found Carver. I believe the next week I came to Carver. And now we're sitting here today.
And, while all this was going on with, with Tommy and the phone call from Tracy, something was changing in my heart, and I didn't know what that was, and I couldn't explain it at the time. I felt something pulling me, I wanted change in my life. And to be honest, I had kind of given up hope. I thought it was too late for me, and I kind of had a bad attitude about it, I guess, if you will. And I just kept getting all these signs, and I know that they were signs, from God. And one thing happened that I'll never forget. I was cleaning out our shed one day, and I came across this box. It was an old gift from a coworker from probably 18 years before. And I don't think me and this coworker really saw things eye to eye, so I don't even know if I opened it at the time. I think I just tossed it aside. But I found this box, and I opened it, and it was an angel, and it was the angel of hope. And I just immediately started crying, because I'm like, wow, this is a sign that it's going to be okay. And sorry. And I knew that it was time to make changes. And, Tommy was receiving this call from Tracy about the same time, and it just, all these things around me, I knew that it was time to make a change for our family. And then we found Carver, and we've been so blessed ever since. We, can't thank everybody there enough for what y'all have done to for our family. Pastor Philip and Morgan, we've learned so much from y'all, and Miss Diane and Mr. Danny, you and everybody, and not just you guys, but everybody welcomed us and treated us like we were part of your family and your church family before we even were members of this church. And I can't tell you how much that helped us and kept us coming. And through that, I heard the word, and it changed our lives forever. I need a break. Sorry. So after going to church for probably about 7-8 months, I had the most amazing day of my life happen, and it was the day that I chose to accept Christ and went before the church. And I'll never forget it. That morning, it had been a really stressful weekend. I had a lot of anxiety, and that Sunday morning I woke up and I had this amazingly calm, peaceful feeling that took over me. And I didn't really know what to make of it at the time. And I remember standing in our kitchen, and I think I was at the sink doing dishes or something silly, trying to get ready for church. And all of a sudden, I heard Pastor Philip's voice in my head, and all it was, this is a time of invitation. And it just hit me. I was like, okay, is that what's happening right now? Is today the day that I'm going to go before the church? And those that know me know that I never thought I would ever do that. I'm very shy, and I didn't think I would ever, want to stand in front of anybody and say or do anything. So it just kind of hit me that, wow, is this what's happening right now? And it was 2 seconds later, Tommy came running down the stairs. He was super excited. He's like, I just found something I've been looking for years. It's a letter from my papa. And he handed it to me, and I opened it, and it was the letter talking about the day that he accepted Christ and was saved. And then, about his baptism, and I started crying. I knew, I was like, it's time, and this is the time. This is all from God. These are all signs from God that this is time. And sorry. I think when I went up to the front of the church, I think that's all I actually said to Philip when I got there. I think I just kept repeating, it's time, it's time. I was so nervous, but I barely remember any of that day. At that point, I know I took the first step, and I know that God carried me the rest of the way. It was amazing. It was the best day of my life so far, and I'm so glad that I made that choice, to do that and to make this change in my life. And anybody that's struggling or thinks that there's no hope in your life, or you're too old, whatever your past, it doesn't matter. You just have to take the first step, and God will carry you through the rest of the way. And I'm so grateful that I had the courage to do that, because it just changed our lives forever, and my family's life forever. I just want my kids to know how much I love them, and that that I hope that I can help lead you to this in your lives one day also.